Hello nerds, welcome to the post-credit show. You are here with your host Loosh and my boy Dean. How are you, Dino?
Hey buddy, what's happening?
What's happening? I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Today we are going to talk about a subject that is very close to my heart. Today's episode will be titled Fuck the Critics.
Yeah, mate. Let's go deeper on this. Why did you come up with this as a topic? I'm kind of curious. I'm always curious, but I want to know why you want this particular thing.
This particular thing. Right, so we're all fans of pop culture. We're all fans of fandom. Like the idea of, as a kid, for me, I was reading Marvel comic books. I was reading DC comic books. I was mainly a DC comic book reader. And my big thing was Batman. I also really liked McFarlane's Spawn, which I thought was a really great comic book.
Yes.
Great comic book series. My Pentecostal Christian parents didn't think that. So you can imagine how horrified I still am to this day at the age of 40 when I still remember back to the fact that they threw away my issue 1, series 1 comic book of Spawn. Yeah, my heart still breaks to this day.
What was the production company with Spawn? What was the name of it?
Fuck, I don't even know. I don't even know, but it was shocking.
I watched the video.
Icon?
No, it's coming. Oh, this is going to bug me now. This is really going to bug me. It will come back to me. I'll come back to this.
We'll come back to that.
We'll circle back.
Like talking about our favorite comic books, for example, and the biggest issue that I have right now in pop culture is how everything that we grew up idolizing and loving, all of these idealistic worlds with these incredible superheroes and these amazing stories with over 100 years of comic book storytelling, from Jack Kirby to Stan Lee to Tom Taylor and everything in between. These stories are now being taken off the pages and put onto our screens. And that is something that as an 80s baby, as a 90s kid, even in the early 2000s, that was just, the idea of that was just so unheard of.
Yeah.
We're living in what I like to call the golden age of content. But every time a new Marvel movie, every time a new DC movie comes out, every time a new episode of a TV series based off a book or a comic book every time something comes out, the first fucking thing you hear about the goddamn thing are critics hate this one. Well, you know what I say? Fuck the critics.
Thus the title of today's episode. Well, you were saying something a second ago about the golden age of like
pop
culture, content, and that's something that, and I've constantly said this a fair few times, that we're kind of spoiled, and that when you have such a big range of things, like you have so much good, that you kind of find the bad, but because it's so much, the volume of the bad is bigger too, and that's obviously based in the eyes of critics and people who are trying to, in this age of attention, get their own kind of clickbaity titles to get people to click on their stuff, and
which is exactly why we called this episode "Fuck the Critics," because I want people to go, "Ooh, saucy." Because
critics in the past, they were kind of interesting. They were interesting reads. They gave you a perspective you may not have seen about something. They critiqued the product, and they called people out on their bullshit. Like if a movie tried to sneak in, too much advertising or something like that, then the critics would point that out and be like, "This is like
Pierce Brosnan's James Bond movies, for example."
Yeah,
I remember that being a big point of contention. It was like, holy shit, man! Like, who paid for this movie? The studio or Lexus?
I've never even really drawn that conclusion with it, but there was a few good ones, and then there was a couple of movies just as a parody took the piss of it, where they start mentioning the brands.
Preparation H. Only for anyway, yeah. Like Scary Movie and college, like all those spoof movies, essentially.
Yeah. There was one that stood out where the director was like, "We need to advertise," and Macca's has come to us with a deal, and then suddenly, like 3 or 4 advertisements later, he's sitting in a chair being fanned by women and like just got gold all around him. He goes, "Yeah, we're good at the moment."
Now, look, I mean, I remember growing up in Australia, there used to be a show on ABC when I was younger, like late 90s, maybe even early 2000s, where it was like, I remember it vividly, I can't remember what it was called, but a couple of like movie critics would sit on these two big lounges and they would just talk about the next movies that are coming up, and it was like really constructive conversation. It was like, there are really great moments, there's cinematic masterpieces, the cinematography in this element of this movie is fantastic, the storytelling could use a little bit of work here or there. Now it's just like, oh, there's a new DC movie coming out, nah, it's gonna be shit.
Yeah, it's hard.
Now look, don't get me wrong, man. I know, we all know that Marvel hit their absolute stride when Endgame came out. Endgame is, by and large, everybody's most favorite Marvel movie ever. I have a theory on that, which we'll get into in a minute. But apparently, according to the critics, Marvel hasn't made a single fucking good thing since then. Now, I disagree. I don't give a shit whether or not you liked it or anyone else liked it. I thought the fucking Miss Marvel was incredible.
It was fun. The actress who played Kamala Khan, brilliant. She was so witty and kind of fun. She was like that lovable character in like a high school drama, which I liked. What other Marvel products have kind of...
The Eternals.
I liked The Eternals.
I loved it. Do you know why I loved it? Because it was so fucking different from anything that Marvel have ever made before. Like that, like from the opening scenes to the very last, like it was picturesque, it was beautiful, it was stunning, and it told a really pointed story. Like, it told a really, really pointed story, and it had to be told in the way that it was. You know what? It's not everyone's cup of tea. I get that. I really do. But before the movie even came out, everybody had an opinion on it. Not because they'd gone and seen it, but because the fucking critics said that it was shit.
If that movie, as a standalone with, maybe a similar budget and a similar CGI and a similar cast and sets and all that, if that movie came out around the same time Iron Man, does it get critically received the same?
Yeah, I don't know. I also think the reality is, if that movie wasn't connected to a greater universe and wasn't a part of a storytelling process, it probably is a pretty average movie. But like, I didn't go and watch that movie because I was expecting some big action-packed holy fucking shitballs. I went into that movie knowing that, okay, it's kind of like a transitional movie, but there are things that are going to be story elements that are going to be played out in this movie that matter to the future of the MCU.
Go deeper on what part of the movie you kind of liked or kind of connected in. What parts kind of...
Oh, look, what I really liked about it was that it was still telling the MCU story, but it was telling it very far removed from everything that we've already seen of the MCU. There was very little to no mention. There was a couple of brief mentions about the events of Avengers or Endgame and Thanos, and that was cool because all we've heard of for 10 years, for a decade, is Iron Man, Captain America, Thanos, Winter Soldier, Thor. Like, great, cool. But that's not everything that Marvel has to offer. This was something different that Marvel brought to the table, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a story well told. And you know what? Like, when you're making a greater universe over decades, there are going to be inconsistencies in the storytelling, and that's the reason why you have subsidiary plot lines that are able to tie up some of those loose ends throughout the and it doesn't even have to be in cinema or on Marvel's cinematic television shows, which is what they are. Let's be real. Like, for example, just a couple of days ago, Marvel released an official MCU timeline where it was clarified in that book. It was a book about the timeline of everything that's happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Earth 616. It was clarified that Wanda is dead.
Really?
She's done.
She's gone?
She's gone.
Oh my
However,
God.
Kevin Feige also talking about the end game of the Kang Dynasty storytelling arc.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of, by the end of it all, there'll be a great reset and characters that you thought were gone for good might return. Okay. So who knows? He might be talking about an alternate Iron Man or Captain America or Wanda or Thanos.
Yeah, well, you did say a point there that kind of stood out to me, is that you said that the characters would still be around. Not necessarily the actors and the person who portrayed them, but the characters would come back. And that makes perfect sense. Can I just quickly touch on something with, this post-Avengers Endgame kind of stuff? With Avengers Endgame and with Thanos, there was a very clear storyline that got clearer and clearer as time went on, whether it started with the collection of the Infinity Stones.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
their part in the whole universe. Then you've got Thanos, and then his story of why he wants them and what he does with them, and then obviously the Infinity War and Endgame kind of saga. But then since then, they've got this such rich history and such rich storylines and so many rich stories that they've touched on, like sporadically all through, that they could go in a million different branches now. Kind of similar to how, you know, the timelines are going. But the one thing that kind of is, I don't know what the bad guy's fighting for. And that to me kind of means it feels somewhat directionless, or that there's so many timelines and the ability to reset that there's no real stake. There's no real arc. There's no stake, no issue.
I'm going to drop some clarity on you.
Yeah.
What was Thanos' primary goal? One word.
You go.
Order.
Order in chaos, yes, okay.
What was Kang's primary goal?
Without the TVA, everything burns.
Order. Yeah, but it's not clear.
It's super clear when you start connecting things like Quantumania, Ant-Man Quantumania with Loki, especially Loki season 2, where that variant, He Who Remains, is dead. And now that he's gone, there is chaos.
Yeah, and as chaos and order, I can understand that side completely. The thing is that there's no journey to the order. Whereas Kang had order, and the goal is like subjugation, right? To have the universe just play out the way he wants it in his story, the way till the end of time, the way he wants it, right? There's kind of like to get to a position of I'm already here. Whereas Thanos had to battle his way to get the stones to have a single event. And so the order is very different. They might be the same thing, but I can understand the critics, but I think a lot of it's kind of unwarranted as well.
So my response to that is very simply, we have a great deal of hindsight in the Infinity Saga. Yeah. Like, we can now look at the Infinity Saga and go, fuck me, that was an incredible piece of storytelling.
Yeah.
But in the Infinity Saga, you had Thor 2 and the Dark Elves. You had Captain Marvel, who for some fucking reason people can't stand Brie Larson.
First, Brie Larson, I don't really care, but she's awesome in that movie. I've rewatched Captain Marvel almost as much as any other Marvel movie because it's just a good, fun movie. Such
a good movie. And you know what? If you are going to let your hatred for somebody who stands on their principles and won't be put down, you're going to let your hatred of that prevent you from enjoying your childhood being put on the big screen in front of you, then you don't deserve this universe.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. You can't let that stuff happen. Like, these things are fun. Kids that bought comic books bought them for fun. We have these movies as adults for fun. But I guess the part of the critics that I don't like about this whole situation is that everyone's a critic because everyone's trying to say, well, this is my opinion, follow me.
Well, that's exactly right. But, you know, like, when I'm talking about critics, I'm not necessarily talking about fans who have gone and seen the movie and are putting their thoughts forward.
Yeah.
Like, I dig that opportunity. Like, I love deconstructing these movies. Like, we go and watch one of these movies, and I'll sit in the car thinking about it for half an hour, and I'll deconstruct it on the ride home with whoever I went and saw it with. You know, like, I dig that shit. Like, that's to me, that's pure fandom. What pisses me off is when a couple of schlubs, professional writers who were paid to go out and see these movies, and the first thing they go to is, the storytelling seemed so disjointed. Yeah, well, did you see the prequel? Did you see the movie that came before it? Are you a fan of this? Are you following the story? But what really grinds my gears is when you see a lot of those types of reviews pop up and then people cling to them, go, nah, it's shit. I told you it was going to be shit. The Russo brothers aren't involved anymore, so therefore it's going to be terrible now.
Well, playing devil's advocate, does there need to be a greater emphasis on the individual stories as well? Like, in the early days of the Marvel, especially the first release of, like, Iron Man and you know, Captain America and the first Avengers, there was a lot of emphasis on the individual movies. And even in Phase 2, there was, again, a lot of emphasis. Civil War was great, but my favourite Marvel movie outside of, like, the Avengers Endgame Infinity War Winter Soldier. To me, it was just a good story told.
But see, I would argue that we are getting those stories being told. They're just not being told in the cinema. They're being told in WandaVision. They're being told in Miss Marvel. They're being told in Moon Knight. They're being told in Loki Season 1 and Season 2. They're being told in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like, those stories are still being told. It's just that the avenue where those stories are being told has changed. And I think that's for the good. And the reason why I say that is because the Kang Dynasty, the Kang Dynasty saga that we're currently in the middle of, there is so much to get through to get to Secret Wars. That if they were to tell all of these side stories that are connected, that advance the story, but also give individual characters an opportunity to shine, if they were to tell them all in cinemas, we'd be going to the cinemas for 20 years just to get through this saga.
True, 100% true. There was a point you made then that made my brain just click, is that these stories are being told in the TV adaptations and stuff. And you're right, the Loki story is freaking great. I've rewatched Loki series, the first season, so many times. I'm watching it currently now.
Oh man, I marked out at the end of the most... So for those people playing at home, we are recording this 3 days before episode 5.
Yeah.
So we've watched episode 4 and fuck me, we're confused and so engaged.
Yeah, it's good. But as I was saying, the stories, right, WandaVision and all that, you're just so right when you talk about that those stories are getting the part they need. Do you believe that because we're getting Marvel stories told at TV at the length of 4, 5, 6 hours of television, that we, as our perception of people watching it, when we see a Marvel movie, do you think we feel the story might be rushed? Do you think there's something happening there? Because I know, and I've said this a million times, we are spoiled.
We are definitely spoiled. Yeah, look, do I think the stories are rushed? No. Do I think the stories are hitting most of the right beats? Yes. Do I think that there are some missteps? Absolutely. You know, being real, there's not a single piece of content that's ever made that anyone could sit back and go, that is 100% perfect. Every decision that was made in the making of that piece of content was made 100% correctly, and you can't argue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reality. Is we do have such a diverse community of people who are looking for different things in the same product. You can only hit those beats for so many people. The problem that we have is that when your perception of what you're about to watch is already set based on what these fucking weird ass critics have said, like seriously, who would have a job as a critic?
I don't know. Would it be a happy job? Would it be happy? I want to put ourselves in the mind of a critic for a moment.
Here we go.
Wake up in your day. Let's.
First thing that goes through your mind, right? What am I going to shit on today?
I don't. No one ever. Here's the thing, though, man. Even with bad guys and Thanos as well, right? No one ever thinks they're the villain.
I'm sure they think that they're doing a
service.
They're
doing the good.
Have you seen that ad on TV during the rugby league, and you've got the banker and the referee, and they're singing to each other about how all they want to do is make life better, and then the car parking inspector yells out, "Me too," and they both turn around and go, "Not you." Yeah, that's the fucking critics.
I've never seen that, but it's interesting. Send that one to me. Send that one to me. But yes, like, you imagine how their day goes, and they think they're doing good, and then, you know, maybe some are. Maybe we are overgeneralizing, but there's definitely a group out there, and I think they're the ones that are untalented, the ones that have just like popped up out of nowhere, started their YouTube channel, and they're like, what are they called? They're like rage critics. Like, they're trying to get a reaction.
And look, this is, I guess, where we're trying to, I guess, tap into that market a little bit ourselves, you know, tapping into the fourth wall here. You know, we're wanting to engage with those people, and we're wanting to ask them, what the fuck's your problem? You know, at the end of the day, for us, you know, this is lifetimes worth of work. You know, you got the guy who is responsible, the godfather of the Marvel universe, is not here to watch what his universe has become in full. Mm. But all people want to do is shit on it, and that kind of irks me a little bit. But see, this is the thing. We've spoken a lot about the MCU right now, but it's not just the MCU that's copying.
You're right.
Like,
You're
DC.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna be out here and say, having grown up as a Batman fan, having grown up in the DC, I guess the pre-cinematic era, Batman 89, Batman Returns. No two movies will ever do Batman better. I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, I loved Robert Pattinson's Batman.
That was a good movie.
Really loved it.
Good movie.
But that's not the Batman I grew up watching, you know? Like, I'm the guy who got my Happy Meal because I got the Batmobile and the Penguin-mobile and fucking toys from McDonald's, you know? Like, that's peak Batman to me. And maybe that's because I'm a bit of a nostalgia nerd. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's because, as far as I can tell, that Batman is as close to a comic book translation as what I have seen from the Batman comic books that I've read. Now, that being said...
What's your favourite Batman movie? Just quickly.
100% Batman Returns.
It is Batman Returns?
Batman
Okay,
Returns. Cool. Batman Returns is, to me, peak Batman. You know, Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, fucking... what's old mate?
Christopher Walken.
Frankly, I feel it's a bum rap.
You know, like... peak Batman right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's out of all the Batman movies, and I mean all of them, that is the one I remember the least.
Really?
Because I haven't seen it in so long.
Oh my god!
But there was so many parts that stand out to me, like when the Penguin bites that guy's nose.
Yep.
Catwoman whipping the heads off the mannequins.
Yep.
The cat's biting her fingers and shit.
Now I'm going to tell you the only part of Batfleck's Batman that stands out to me, Ben Affleck's Batman that stands out to me, is what I think is modern day peak Batman. When we kind of touched on a little bit in Batman vs Superman. Was it Batman vs Superman or was it Injustice? One of those movies. Post-apocalypse Batman. Superman has taken over,
yes.
like literally Injustice Gods Among Us in cinematic form. And if Tom Taylor's Injustice was what they based any of that off, the fact that they veered away from that was a big mistake.
No, they definitely did. But obviously, and I don't know if you remember much at the time, but like with Zack Snyder, Wheaton took over.
Because I think Snyder had a death in the family.
Yeah, his daughter.
Yeah.
His daughter passed away.
Yeah.
And so he stepped away from it. And then he came back years later, and obviously there was a cry out for like that movie. To be fair, I've never felt as awesome as I did when I started, like, literally put on the opening scene for the Justice League, the 4-hour version, because...
You mean the half-a-day version?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Give me 4 hours of a fucking movie. I want it all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that that it was bad, because it wasn't. It was great. It was incredible. I actually really fucking liked Lex Luthor in that. I don't know why Jesse Eisenberg was so hated for his Lex Luthor portrayal. I thought it was great.
I enjoyed him. It was
I mean, the previous Lex Luthor was Kevin fucking Spacey.
Yes and no. Yes and no. To me, the previous Lex Luthor was Michael Rosenbaum in Smallville.
That's
to
true.
me. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do. And by the way, I mean, Spacey was good as... He was a very menacing, like, very dark, very established, older Lex Luthor.
He was very tongue-in-cheek. Like, the moment that really kind of sticks out to me was he's just talking to someone and, like, I can't... Oh, you think Batman's going to come and save you? Sorry, you think Superman's going to come and save you, don't you? And then the kid responds and interrupts.
Superman will never...
Wrong! I'm like, whoa! Okay! Shit!
No, he was so jaded, and I like that version, but we've seen so many versions of Lex. Like, I like it.
And I think this is the problem. I think this is where DC has kind of struggled a little bit, is that they haven't been able to settle on the kind of movie, the kind of cinematic take they're trying to do. I don't know if you remember this, but Blue Beetle came out 6 weeks ago.
Did it really?
And we fucking forgot.
Yeah.
It was that it was that uninteresting that we all forgot about it. I don't know anyone that went and saw it.
I think a lot of it nowadays, for me personally, is I get such a thrill and such good content from what I can get on my phone or on my computer that it's hard to kind of dial into taking some time out, go to the movies, and especially where we live, man. Like, to go down to Chatty to watch a movie, it's getting a park and all that kind of stuff. It is a bit of a mission.
You know, there's a cinema like 6 minutes up the road from us, right?
Well,
anyway, we'll talk about that offline because there's some fucking movies coming out this month and we need to go see. The Marvels.
Yes, that's a big
Boom.
one.
Like in the next fortnight. We're going to do...
Or the Marvels, or as what I call it, Nick Fury 2.
Correct. I reckon you and I should go see that, and then we should sit in our fucking car with our phones and just record an episode.
Have a critic meeting.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
we're the critical critics.
To get back on track when it comes to like all the stuff that we're talking about with critics and all that. Yeah, we can see very easily how easy it is to find the moments in a movie that you don't want. It is all based on the person that's going in there, right? Whenever I go to see a superhero movie, I'm so happy and I feel so friggin' lucky that I get to do that. That when I sit there, I'm all happy. I don't care what happens. There might be some stupid moments, but I can ignore them easily because I'm there for the fun.
Here's one that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Yes.
Fucking loved that movie.
It was good.
I really fucking loved that movie.
It was better than I expected.
Yeah, 100% better than what I expected. And you know what? The critics absolutely sunk it. Before it had a chance to come out, people were talking about how they don't want to go see it because they've heard it's shit. And that's the phrase that pisses me off. Oh, I heard it's really bad. I heard it's shit. Well,
more free seats in the cinema for me. But that's a double-edged sword because the less seats taken in the cinema.
Correct. And the end result of that is The Rock's career, Dwayne Johnson's career as Black Adam, is over now.
No, it is sad.
You know, like, and this is the thing that pisses me off about critics right now. Yeah. It's not your job to ruin people's careers. And the venom that some critics come out with their pieces these days very much is like, ooh, you got a bit of a vendetta against this actor, don't you? You know, like you can feel it in some of the words that they say and some of the ways they talk about it. And I just think that's shit.
Is there any critics you follow in particular? Like anything that you sit back and go, whether it's overly negative or positive, it doesn't matter. But is there anyone you sit back and go, I just kind of want to see what this person's saying about it, and maybe it could be for a good or a bad reason, or is there there's a
page.
Critic? That's what
There's
I was
a
going to
page,
leave.
Comic Book Resources.
CBR. Yes, I do know them.
I follow them a lot, and look, to be honest with you, I'm not going to rag on them because they do have a lot of really great content. But any time a comic book movie comes out, there's 15 different pieces published, and maybe 12 of them. 12 of them are bagging the shit out of it, while the other 3 are going, this is great if you're into fan service. At the end of the day, every single one of these movies is fan service.
Yeah, I think fan service... I mean, we got a lot of it in, like, Endgame and stuff like that. But I feel that some studios, some directors, maybe some producers... And the producers is what I worried about the most, because they have the financial money behind it.
They're the ones who have their house on the line.
And they can make the decision. And sometimes, it depends on the studio. But I do worry about, like I said with Zack Snyder earlier. Would we get that... a different Batman vs Superman movie originally? I mean, we got his cut, right? But would we get the original movie released?
Well, see, that's the thing. His cut didn't include any reshoots.
No, I don't believe it did. No, not for Batman vs Superman, did it?
I dare say that if he had his time to do that movie again, it might have actually ended up being a different movie. Look, I mean, this is the thing. I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan of the DC universe. I hope to God that James Gunn can pull some motherfucking magic out his hat, because unpopular opinion here, I actually think James Gunn is a little overrated. I think he's had a couple of absolute bangers. But I just don't know how... Yeah, look, I don't know. I think the biggest mistake that James Gunn has made so far is terminating Henry Cavill's employment.
Okay, so I understand it. It hurts me personally as the biggest Superman fan. Like, Marvel has changed me, but Superman is my guy, right? That is my comic book. That is my guy.
Peak Superman. No one can play it better.
I mean, Christopher Reeve with between them, yes, of course. But with Henry Cavill, I'm just it was so good.
But here's the thing: critics hated him.
Did they hate him, or did they hate?
No, they
some
hated
of the
his
movies?
deadpan delivery.
Deadpan.
Yeah, they hated his. Well, Superman's not supposed to be all mopey and.
He's Kansas.
Like, they absolutely... I remember very vividly, because I remember when he was cast, I've never heard of this guy before, looked into him, like, oh yeah, he looks the part, can't wait to see what he does. Before it had even been released, critics went and saw it, and they're like, what the fuck is with this guy?
I remember where I was the day I found out, because I used to read Empire magazine. Remember Empire?
Yeah. And they would get all those special features on announcements and shit,
And so that one was in, and it was a picture of young Henry Cavill. I think it was like 2010, 2011. It was early. It was like 2 years before the movie came out. He had just wrapped filming on Immortals. And it was a picture of him in a suit, and he had a belt buckle, and the belt buckle was a Superman emblem. Yeah, and it was like they started to get those, started getting those...
The subtle but not so subtle hints.
Press bits. Well, they did a thing on him, and he was... Superman. But I enjoyed it so much. And I enjoy reading anything to go with that kind of stuff. Fast forward to where we are. Look, I do like James Gunn. I listened to a pod with him and Michael Rosenbaum, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I think I might have sent it to you. When you get a chance, have a crack at it. But it shows the inner workings of his mind, the way he's going to approach it. And I'm interested. I'm willing to give it a shot.
He might not get a chance, to be honest with you, because if I remember reading something recently, fucking Warner Brothers is up for sale.
Yeah, I heard about it. Disney circling.
Disney circling. Maybe we're a little bit closer to a Marvel versus DC movie than we think.
Look, I'm saying this on recording now. In the next 15, 20 years, I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening anytime soon. I reckon I'll be an old man by the time it happens, but I'll be fucking lining up to get tickets.
I think 20 years, being that the cinematic Marvel universe has been out for as long as it has, 15 or so. Yeah. I think 20 years is a very safe bet to say that if acquired, I don't think we're seeing that. I think they're two separate properties. It's almost like crossing over Star Wars and Marvel to me.
See, I don't agree with that, and the reason why I say I don't agree with that is because it's happened before.
In
Marvel and DC have crossed over on comic books.
In comics.
And there was a really coherent storyline when they did it. It wasn't permanent, but it's happened. It was almost like a multiversal, wait, you're not a Superman variant. You know?
Okay.
So I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out.
I know it has happened, and knowing that, I still stick by what I say.
And fuck me, if that's what it takes to dethrone fucking James Cameron and Titanic from the #1 highest grossing film of all time, I'll take it.
I don't think Titanic, it's Avatar, wasn't it?
No, it's Titanic.
Ooh,
oh, no, maybe it is Avatar. Fuck, I don't know. It's James Cameron.
It's James Cameron.
Who, for the record, is probably the worst critic of them all. He can't help but shit all over anything comic book movie related.
I remember Martin Scorsese did the same thing.
Yeah.
He was saying about how, it's not cinema.
And what's he been doing lately? He's actually done a lot lately. But,
no, he just did that. It's out now. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro.
I don't know. I have to have looked at it.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I would respond with to Martin Scorsese? Martin Scorsese. I would, if I'm Kevin Feige, go up to him and go, all right, cool. Here's a movie. Show us what cinema really is.
Ooh. I don't
fucking lay down the gauntlet for that prick.
He wouldn't do it.
No, he wouldn't.
But at the same time, getting good directors behind the helm of movies like that.
Wouldn't you love to see, Martin Scorsese's Iron Man? Wouldn't you love to see it?
It would be different.
Yeah.
It'd be different.
It'd probably be a fair bit darker.
You know who I want to see back in the director helm for a Marvel movie? Kenneth Branagh.
Remind me.
Thor.
Oh, yep. Thor 1.
Thor 1. Yeah. And he's obviously very famously the sorcerer from Chamber of Secrets, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher.
Yeah.
What's his name? God, I'm bad with names today, but everyone can picture him. He's like the guy who thinks he's the best at everything. Yeah. That he's a brilliant actor, brilliant friggin' director. Him back at the helm of a movie would be awesome.
Now, here's the thing, right? And we're going to wrap up soon, but we've spoken a lot about Marvel. We've spoken a lot about DC.
Yeah.
But it's not just Marvel and DC.
No, not at all.
1991, Hook.
Ooh,
absolutely, Robin Williams as Peter Pan.
Robin Williams.
Absolutely shit on by every goddamn
who was Hook?
Critic that you can think of.
Who was Hook? I'm drawing a blank.
Dustin Hoffman.
Of course, yes.
Absolutely shit on by every critic you can think of.
Great Hook.
Fantastic
Great
movie.
Hook.
To this day, fantastic movie. Best Peter Pan movie ever made, I reckon. Another one, Venom. Now look, I understand some of the critics' concerns about Venom. It did kind of look like they got to about 90% finished. Venom 2 was absolute trash, but Venom 1 was a good movie.
I think Venom 1 was great.
Because of the character that Venom is, fans loved it.
Let's shoot out another couple ones that you think the critics got wrong.
Big Daddy.
Adam Sandler. Good movie.
Fucking
fun
loved it.
movie. Fun movie.
Really fun movie.
It was coming off the back of Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. Which, by the way, I mean, those two.
Incredible movies. Mate, I don't know what people's problem with Adam Sandler is. Okay, sure, he reuses a lot of his jokes movie to movie. You've seen one, you've seen them all. But Big Daddy was different.
But it's kind of like watching a Ryan Reynolds movie. I show up to watch Ryan Reynolds. When I see an Adam Sandler movie...
That was going to be one... Someone mentioned to me today, Green Lantern. I'm like, no, that was shit. Everyone agrees.
Oh, it was Ryan
Reynolds. Even Ryan Reynolds agrees that was shit.
He made a joke in Deadpool about
Correct.
it. It was so funny.
It was so meta.
So funny.
Another one that spawned, I don't care what anyone says, it spawned the greatest song to come out of a superhero movie ever. Daredevil. Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck.
Was
Evanescence, Bring Me to Life.
Yeah, but Evanescence, was that song for that movie? I didn't. Okay, there you go.
Yep.
By the way, I rewatched that movie not too long ago.
It's so good.
It came out 2004. I watched it, and I was like, as a kid, because I was 14 at the time, I loved it.
Yeah.
It had Jon Favreau playing Foggy Nelson.
Yeah.
It had...
Who'd have thought that 20 years later he'd become one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean... And then, but there was a few campy moments that I realised...
Colin Farrell as Bullseye?
I don't know, he was kind of fun.
I liked it.
Kingpin,
Michael...
Duncan Clark?
Michael Clark.
Michael Clark Duncan?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's...
Oh my God, such an incredible actor. Such an incredible actor. That moment where Deadpool kneecapped him, and he's
Daredevil?
Daredevil kneecapped him, and he's screaming into the camera, like...
Yeah.
That moment is just so iconic.
And I was just thinking about that moment. By the way, I mean, as a Daredevil, as like a actual Daredevil like character,
Ben Affleck was great.
Ben Affleck was fine.
Yeah.
My issue was it had some campy shit in it, and the story with Electro was
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. The spin-off movie of Electra was like... Ugh.
Yeah, I was by the way, the trailer. I still remember the trailer for that because I liked Daredevil so much. The trailer was sick.
Yeah.
The movie, yeah, but when they jumped, they had like this superhuman jumping, like in Daredevil. Like they jumped like super, like they could jump 20 feet up into the air and like land on a building. It was weird.
Yep. Probably the other one that I think that just got shit on for no fucking reason, and I don't understand why, because Nicolas Cage is such a good actor.
I know where you're going with this.
National treasure.
Dude, their movies, if you're having a lazy day or you're hungover, that is a movie you watch.
They're comfort movies,
They're
man.
such comfort
like, they're
movies.
so good that they're comfort movies.
And the guy, he's offsider, Riley.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's such a comical character as an offsider. Like, he's so funny. Like, he's got that dry humor in through the movies, and it's so good. So good. It's such a perfect offset to, like, Nicholas's character.
I had a chat to a colleague of mine at work today, and he gave me a list, and to be honest with you, I don't agree with any of them, but I'll shout them out because Aaron does listen to us on a weekly basis, so what's going on, Az? Titan AE. Never seen it.
I've seen it. I like it.
Yeah?
Does he like it?
Yeah, he does.
I like
his
it.
List. This
I like
is his
it.
list of...
Titan AE is great.
Yeah, okay.
It's a like
older movie,
space. Yeah? It's a space movie, like a kind of like Treasure Planet. I think, if I remember right, I believe it's like.
Funny you should mention, because Treasure Planet's also on this list.
I knew it. If he had Titan AE, I knew he would be a Treasure Planet guy.
Around the World in 80 Days.
The Jackie Chan one?
Jackie Chan's friggin' amazing, man. I don't care. I don't care how shit the movie is. Anything with Jackie Chan in it, I'm watching it.
Yes, and by the way, we have a newfound love for Owen Wilson. He's been awesome.
Owen Wilson has been incredible in Loki too.
He is the perfect missing part to Loki.
Absolutely.
I fucking love his character.
He's
so
the
much.
yin to Loki's yang.
It is so good.
There's another couple here that he's given me. Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. I didn't even know that was made into a movie.
Yep, that's an older movie. These movies are following a certain kind of trajectory. Like they're very much like a certain type of movie.
And the other one that that Aaron and I were talking about earlier today that I thought was really interesting, because it was kind of, it wasn't so much that it was panned by the critics, but it was a sleeper.
Oh, okay, go.
The Princess Bride.
Good movie.
One of the greatest fairy tales ever told.
Great movie.
Inconceivable!
Has he got any more on that list?
That was it.
Okay.
That was it.
I was going to ask if he had Spirited Away on that list.
I don't think he did, actually. Aaron, did you have Spirited... Oh, hold on, let me check. No, he did. Oh, no, he had Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas.
Yeah, there's a very clear, like...
He's certainly
line
a
of
certain
movies.
type of fan,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
but
okay.
Titan A, God, I haven't heard that said in so long. Watch it when you get a chance. It's not bad. Treasure Planet too.
Fine. All right.
I'm pretty sure Creed sings in one of those. I think Titan A maybe. I think Creed, the higher.
So I want to bring this home. The point of what we're trying to do here is we're trying to essentially remind people that at the end of the day, regardless of what critics say, regardless of how much a series, how much a movie is completely panned by, be it critics or other fans or whatever, at the end of the day, we are all fans of this content. We are all fans, and we absolutely love what it is that we're watching. For a lot of us, it's our childhood come to life. At its core, what I want to say is, being fans, we're fans of content, we're fans of creativity, fans of what I like to call, like I said at the start of this episode, the golden age of content. We love what's coming out. We love what's coming out from every corner of the world. So if you're making content, whether or not you're Kevin Feige, Kevin Smith, or just fucking Kevin down at the pub, Dino and I want to let you guys know that we love you, we support you. Keep doing it. Keep making what you're making, because at the end of the day, we are only doing what we're doing because we've been given the tools to do that by people who have created that content to start with.
Yeah, we are talking about, actual creative products that we get to talk about and explore, and we get to talk about those stories and expand on them. And I genuinely enjoy that, man. Like, what better thing to do?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to keep using the phrase, and I will continue to use the phrase for as long as we do this podcast. This is the golden age of content. Whether or not that content is coming from Marvel or Disney or Warner Brothers, or whether or not that content's coming from Loosh and Dean. Or from Mr. Beast, or
music,
from yeah. Well, actually, no, we don't like him anymore.
Hey! Separate the art from the artist, my friend. Yeah, he's got some bangers.
Well, he had some bangers 20 years ago, but anyway. Look, that's all from us today. I hope you've taken something out of this. If nothing more, what I want to impress on you is, if you loved this shit when you were a kid, if you marked out about the fact that fucking Iron Man and Captain America are on the same page of a comic book, and then you get the opportunity to see that in real life, just remember that you are privileged. There are a lot of people who didn't get to see that. There are a lot of people whose lifetimes went by without having the privilege of seeing that. And the other thing that I want to say is, hurry the fuck up, George R.R. Martin. I'm getting sick of waiting.
It's coming. Winter is coming.
Apparently.
Man, look, good chat. Look, I think after the conversation today, I get it. I do get some of the points where the critics come from. It's so easy to find those moments, but at the same time, it's like, be positive, go in with a good mindset, exactly. Enjoy the fun.
If you've just put $25, you just put $25 down to go watch a movie, find something that you enjoyed out of it.
$25. I pay gold class. I get popcorn. I get a drink.
Hey, big spender!
Me too, actually. I can't remember the last time I only paid $25.
I get an $18 sundae, mate. Come on.
I get the $26 bowl of Maltesers, which is literally just a $12 bag of Maltesers put into a bowl.
Is it a bowl of Maltesers? Oh, no, dude.
All right. Peace out. We love you. And share us with your friends. Tell them about how great we are, or how shit we are. At least it'll get them listening, right?
Oi, tell them how shit we are. Content, right? Critics. Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey, Dino.
Yeah, buddy.
So this guy went down to the chemist one night. He wanted to grab some condoms because him and his misso were going to have a bit of a banging night together, yeah?
Yep.
So he buys a couple of condoms and he goes to the pharmacist. Have you got any larger ones? And the pharmacist's like, yeah, these ones. He's like, no. I need something bigger. The pharmacist was like, all right, try these ones. He's like, nah, I still need something a little bit bigger. All right, yeah, great. These ones, these are the biggest we've got. Yeah, I'll grab a pack of those. So he goes, takes them, goes to the missus' house. About an hour later, it's dinner time. So they all come to the dinner table. And the guy sits down and he's like, I'm just not going to say a word. I just want to say grace. So he bows his head and he's saying grace. And, you know, he's having a really good, you know, like, thank you for the planet and for the grass and for the food and the this. And he's just going on and on and on. And everyone thought that he was done it. And he did another one. And he thought he was done it and another one. And just kept going on and on and on. And finally, they finish up and his girlfriend pulls him aside and he goes, I didn't realize you were so religious. And the bloke turns around to his misso and goes, I didn't realize your dad was a pharmacist.
Oh, fuck. Not bad, mate. You're getting better. Not bad at all. Peace, guys. My ass is fucking hurting. Like, 40 minutes, mate. I've got 40 minutes of sitting in this seat, and that's all I've got.
That is going in the podcast.
Do what you want with it.